We got the love. We got the love. Yeah, people. All right. All right. Oh, wait. You know what? Look at that. Look at that glare on them glasses. Goddamn, boy. Let me knock them glares back. Look at the glare. I can't even see. See, this is why I squint all the time, guys. Because I totally wear glasses for distance. It was. Now it's for both. Although I don't wear bifocals because I'll trip all over the place. But hey, man, here we are. Another hit of the attic. Second one in this week. That's kind of rare, man. I don't really do two in a week. I don't think I have anyway in the past. With the attic, which is the daily, not the daily, the solo bitch. It's the solo bitch. Get it ready. It's the solo show. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, whatever the fuck I want to do kind of thing. Whatever news interests me. But yeah, that's the attic. You know what I mean? But listen, I gotta say, man, I'm pretty surprised. I did, like I said, this is my second episode of the attic for this week. I did one 2 days ago. And I gotta tell you, it hit 90 views in 2 days, which is pretty cool. Um, Now listen, man, I know, 90 views ain't shit in the professional streaming world. But to a cat like me who just does this for fun, keep the devil out of my mind and off my back, um, you know, 90 views in 2 days. I mean, shit, it's a start. You know what I mean? It's a start. Now, I gotta say though, 90 views, 7 likes. 90 views, like 79 or 80% of the 90 people that viewed um are watching 75 to 80% of the video. So they don't it's not like they don't like it. It's just they're forgetting to hit them chums, man. Gotta hit them chums. I hate to sound like a hua, but in order for anybody to get anywhere, to be able to do more stuff. It's like tears. It's a pain in the dick, but it is what it is. So make sure you don't forget to hit the like button. Matter of fact, before you even, you know what I do? I hit the like and subscribe right off the rip. And then if I don't like it, then I undo it. You know what I mean? It's why I don't forget. But I don't know. It's just a little heads up for you. But like I said, I appreciate the eyes, man. I really do. I appreciate the eyes. And then like Dag says, on our other show on It's a Podcast with at Night. Like my man Dags always says, your love doesn't cost a thing. And it doesn't cost you a nickel. You know? I was just going over my YouTube account before. And it has, who you're subscribed to, the list. And I'm going down, I'm like, who the hell is this? What's this? What's this? And I'm looking up, like I'm like, oh yeah. It pops up. I go, okay, I know. Just spreading the love. I don't if I see something and I like the energy and I like, what they're trying to do or whatever, I'll subscribe. I don't care. I'll throw a subscribe in there for them every now and then. You know what I mean? I'll look around and see what's shaking. But and then I clean house, once a year with it or something. Whatever. I don't know. But the whole point is don't forget to hit that like button, guys. It means a lot. But like I said, hey man, I appreciate the 90. Um, I think that's the highest I've had on the solo on the attic. 90 views. So if I get 90 by myself, then it's a podcaster fee who's got two, sometimes three people. We should get at least double, right? 180, 200. I don't know. That's my thinking, but what do I know? Anyway, man, I got I wanted to we got another gem, just another beautiful human being, another guy walking around um that shouldn't even be. Um we had a kidnapper, Oregon, kidnapped a lady from Seattle, drives her 500 miles to his hometown where his house is, Klamath Falls in Oregon, Klamath or Klamath, whatever. He makes a cell out of cinder blocks in his garage. Um, so he makes the 500-mile trip, and he's raping her, sexually assaulting her the whole way down. Uh, so imagine that fucking car ride, right? But luckily, their girl gets to escape. I believe that night. So it wasn't that great of a job. Apparently, this guy isn't that good at anything. So I wanted to just hit it off with that, and then just and be done. Just a quickie. That's what these are all about, pretty much. These solo guys, they're like hit and runs. Um, yeah. So let's see what we want to do here. Um, I like my head to be big and screen to be small. All right, guys, here we go. This is another productive member of society here, right? This jerk off, what a piece of garbage this guy is. But this is what we have walking around in our society today. It's more prevalent now than it ever was, man.
For kidnapping and locking up a woman. Tonight, we have team coverage of this developing story, from the latest on the investigation to reaction from the city where the suspect lives, and a closer look at the suspect's history.
This case all started when investigators say 29-year-old Negasi Zuberi kidnapped a woman in Seattle back in July. Then they say he drove her to a home in Klamath Falls, where he locked her in a makeshift cinder block cell in the garage before she was able to escape.
She realized that she needed to get out of that residence because her life was in danger. And she took the substantial steps to force her way out of that cell. And then she ran out into public, flagged down the first vehicle she could find, and then she was taken to safety.
Good for her.
The home where the woman was held was located on North El Dorado Avenue in Klamath Falls. Fox 12's Adrian Thomas is the only Portland reporter to travel there tonight. He joins us live with neighborhood reaction to Zuberi's arrest. Adrian?
Well, Pete, according to an unsealed FBI criminal complaint, this house behind us is where Negasi Zuberi allegedly held a woman captive in his garage in a makeshift cell after allegedly kidnapping her in Seattle. According to that complaint, this all happened in the early hours here on July 15th. One neighbor we spoke with says he and others nearby had no idea something so sinister was going on in this garage. Disturbing photos just released by the FBI show what appears to be a makeshift cinder block cell in the garage of this unassuming house in Klamath Falls. In the FBI's criminal complaint, it states law enforcement obtained a search warrant for the house on July 16th. Lee Ashford, who lives just a block away, says at the time, he and other neighbors didn't know what was happening.
We didn't know if it was FBI or state police or what, but they were here pretty much all day. And it just, obviously something was going on. It was, we speculated along with everybody else we talked to, but didn't really know anything.
Ashford says he believes Zuberi had been living there for a short time and says there was zero indication there were any issues.
But stuff happens everywhere. Behind closed doors, who knows what's going on?
That's right.
And back out here live, civil court documents in Klamath County that we've obtained show that Zuberi was renting this house from a couple that actually lives right down the street from here. We've tried to contact that couple multiple times, including knocking on their door and just to see if they would give us a comment on this situation, and we haven't been able to reach them. Live in Klamath Falls, Adrian Thomas, Fox 12 Oregon.
I don't know, man. They don't
Adrian, thank you. Meanwhile, Fox 12's Connor McCarthy has been covering this story all day and was at the FBI press conference this morning.
He joins us live in Northeast Portland to tell us more about the suspect and the potential for more victims. Connor?
Oh, no.
Well, Pete and Riel, the FBI says they believe this case will have a national impact. But right now, Zuberi is being held in federal custody down in Reno, Nevada, after he was arrested the middle of last month. Now, FBI investigators do believe that there are potentially more victims in possibly 10 different states, and they're hoping with this case coming to light, more women will come forward. It's a case that sounds like something straight out of a horror movie.
Forward.
The disturbing evidence uncovered to date points to an individual's ongoing and escalating pattern of violence targeting women in multiple states throughout the country.
The Portland FBI office believes this man, 29-year-old Negasi Zuberi, is responsible for kidnapping a woman in Seattle on July 15th by posing as a police officer, then driving nearly 500 miles to his home in Klamath Falls, Oregon, repeatedly sexually assaulting her along the way. Agents say the woman escaped Zuberi the same day, but it's what investigators found in his garage that was shocking.
When police responded to a 911 call in Klamath Falls, Oregon on July 15th, they discovered a makeshift cinder block cell with a metal door and a singular light bulb above for light.
Investigators believe the woman was locked up inside this makeshift cell for hours. They say she escaped by banging on the door of the cell until it eventually broke open, then running into the street where she was able to flag down a driver to call 911.
According to the complaint, the woman fought for her life, beating the doors and the walls of this cell with bloodied hands.
As investigators were looking for evidence in Zuberi's home, they tell us they found a notepad in his car with notes of his plan. We're told he called the alleged kidnapping Operation Takeover, where he would look for a woman who, quote, doesn't have a bunch of people in their life. Then another page shows a drawing of where he wanted to dig 100 feet down and create a space made out of waterproof concrete and foam insulation. The evidence investigators found, they believe there are more victims in 10 different states on both coasts of the country.
And her will to survive triggered a law enforcement response that may have actually saved many other women from a similar nightmare.
Zuberi was found in a Reno, Nevada shopping mall parking lot with his wife and child the same day the woman escaped. There was a brief standoff, but he was eventually taken into custody. He's now waiting for extradition back to Oregon.
I want to thank the brave women who fought for their lives to get us where we are here today. Now it is our turn to take their burden and fight for them, any other victims out there, and seek justice.
Well, Pete and Nora, the FBI did say that they have identified at least 4 other victims, but they did not say which states they're from. Now, Zuberi does face 2 federal charges, including interstate kidnapping and crossing state lines with an individual with the intent to commit a criminal sexual act. Now, if he is convicted of these 2 counts, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. Live in Northeast Portland, Connor McCarthy, Fox 12 Oregon.
All right, Connor, thank you. A suspect has been arrested, but
Unbelievable, man. You know? What a fucking piece of garbage, this guy. I mean, Jesus Christ. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't know where these guys get crazy like this. I don't know how they get nutty. I mean, these people are sickos, man. You know? You gotta think, where did it all go wrong with these people? You know? Were they all sexually abused? No. You know? Um, was it all did they all get raised in a home where there was abuse and yelling and screaming and no love? I don't know. But there's gotta be there's gotta be some of them out there that were, normal, not which means not a fucking killer, you know, that grew up normal. And those are the guys you question. Like, where did it all go wrong? What do they think about? That's what I like to know. What do these guys think about, like in their downtime? Like, do they think about murder the whole time? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. But I got there's another one I wanted to do. I found a call girl that dated um the Gilgo Beach murderer Rex Heuermann. I wanted to see her for a quick second, but this girl, recovering addict, call girl, obviously because of the addiction. Addiction is the only thing that would make a girl sell her body like that. Specifically that nasty. I hate to even say the word H. The heroin. That stuff brings people to their knees and it makes you do things you would never do. Like sell your body, men or woman. Like that guy said, woman. Should be women, brother. Women. Um, so yeah, let me get this thing pumped up. Let me get this thing pumped up for you. But yeah, you like to see when the hell did it all go wrong, man? Where did it go wrong for some of these guys? Shame. And then they torture somebody else and they release their misery on some poor kid or or whatever. But let's have a look see at this call girl or former call girl.
But take us back about 10 years ago, or the year it was, when you got to know you got to know the Lisk, the Gilgo Beach serial killer, Rex.
So I'm almost positive it was 2015. And I, at the time, was in active addiction and not really thinking about my safety or well-being. And I was on some fairly sketchy websites. And he was one of the guys that messaged me to meet. Initially, he wanted me to meet him in Nassau County, and I'm pretty sure directly where he wanted us to go. But I didn't feel comfortable, and I never would, even for like, I did, a Tinder date. I would never meet somebody like at a hotel or at my house. So I asked him if he would meet me in Port Jeff because I was familiar with the area and I felt safe over there and I knew people. So if I needed somebody, they were close by. And we agreed. So we went to the the Steam House, and had dinner and drinks.
Did you meet at the restaurant or?
Yeah, we met directly at the.
Real quick, you're gonna notice how she tells this story. You could tell this chick is street smart. She's no dummy. There's a bunch of things that she does to basically cover her ass when she goes and meets up, not just with Rex, but with other guys as well. I believe she said, but she explains it. This chick is very. You could tell she's been around. She's been around.
The restaurant.
Okay. Rex Heuermann is who we're talking about. I referred to him as the alleged Long Island serial killer. He is charged in 3 victims' deaths, and so this is a dinner and drinks with him. And you met him on a sketchy website. Is this sort of like Tinder but sketchier, or
sketchier? I used to use sites like Backpages, Escort Alligator, Seeking, like a lot of. They put it in the guise of like finding a sugar daddy or a rich older guy to date and be with. But I feel like it isn't quite that. You know what I mean?
Sure. And this is 10 years ago. You were much younger. You were in a very vulnerable situation in your life, and so you chose to go out with them, but you still took these safety precautions.
Yeah, I even beforehand showed me and my little sister at Chuck E. Cheese, and I showed her a picture of him on my phone, and I was like, "Listen, this is who I'm going to be with tonight in case anything happens." And I always did that. Sometimes I would even send her their license plates if I was going to get in a car, just so she knew, like someone knew. And yeah, so I showed her his picture, everything. I set up date, and I met him there. Did
he use his real name, and did he use his real photo?
So on the websites, he didn't use his real name, and you don't have to have a photo. You can give private access where only certain people you let see a picture of you. I asked him for a picture and said, like, can you send a picture so I know who I'm looking for? And he sent a picture. I don't know. We were on one of those apps like WhatsApp, or one of the ones where you generate fake phone numbers, and at that time, fake names. It wasn't until we met in person and I said, "Hey, like, nice to meet you. My real name is Nikki." And he did say Rex, but he didn't give me his last name or anything. And he also said he was divorced with kids, not married, which I would expect, like.
Sure.
And then, yeah, he seemed pretty normal when I first sat down with him. At first, I thought, oh, maybe my gut was just wrong. He seems fine. So when we sat down, we talked about like basic stuff. He said like he was an architect and what he did for a living and this and that. And then talked to me about what I want to do for a living, basic, like little chit chat. And then he asked me if I had an interest in true crime. And I actually do. Like I know about every serial killer. So like, and then he said, "Well, do you know about the Gilgo Beach murders?"
He asked you this.
Yeah. He brought it up and asked me. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I think everybody from Long Island knows about the Gilgo murders. Like, we're all following it. We're from here. Especially girls who work in that
industry. Like they have to take extra precaution and know. So he asked me if I knew about them, and then he started like talking about, you know, the case so far. Thing was, like, when he talked about it, it was weird. And that's what like gave me a bad gut feeling and made me want to get out of there, was like he didn't talk about it like a true crime fan would, or like somebody who had, you know, was really into the case. It like almost seemed like as he talked about it, he was like mentally reliving it and like enjoying it. You know what I mean?
Can you remember anything
creepy.
specific that he said?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't talk to the cops yet, so certain stuff I'm like nervous to say in case it wasn't you know, said anywhere else. But so like one thing I remember specifically was when he talked about it, I said, well, who do you think did it? And obviously he's not going to say me. So he was like, oh, you know, he's like, it could be Bissett, the guy, the aquarium owner. And I feel like he said that in retrospect. I feel like he said that because the sacks that the bodies were in, the burlap sacks, were traceable to Bissett's nursery farm, like nursery that he owned. And I feel like he said that because he knew Bissett would be a suspect when they found the burlap sacks.
Wow.
So I feel like that's why he mentioned him as like a hypothetical who it could be. And what weirded me out the most was that he's saying all this and being real creepy about it, and then says like, oh, I live right by Gilgo Beach.
Do you think he was trying to intimidate you or mislead you? What do you think his intention was?
I feel like he wanted to brag about what he had done, but couldn't, but knew with girls like me who are vulnerable and addicted to drugs and not likely to be believed, that he could almost brag in his own way. You know, like I feel like he wanted to talk about it. He wanted to be able to tell people. He wanted to be able to brag and get the attention.
Like he was getting a bit of a high from sharing.
Yeah,
this.
like he seemed. I tell people it seemed like he had like a mental orgasm talking about it. Like his body language changed. He seemed like too excited to be like talking about the victims, and it didn't seem like someone who felt bad for the victims. It almost seemed like he kind of thought of them as expendable people that didn't really.
Don't they all? You know? Geez, all those serial killers, they're victims. They're nobody to them, right? It's like a game. So there's definitely, without saying, there's lack of respect there. You know, a killer to his victims. There ain't no respect there. There's no respect at all. Sounds like Rodney Dangerfield, right? But Jesus, there was a little perspective of a former call girl, sitting with a killer. I mean, you know, how do you? Man, that would drive me nuts if I was home by myself, just thinking about it. You know, if I was a female, and Jesus Christ, I was in bed with this guy. Could have been me. All these thoughts going through your head. You know, that's a bad business, man. Bad business. So hey, listen, man, that's it. Where are we gonna go, right? Where are we gonna go? What are we gonna do? There's another little hit there, guys, from you for the attic. I love true crime. I love all that shit. So, I always like to share a little bit of what's going on in the present. In that case of uh, crazy fellers killing people. You know, it's sad. It's a shame. Shame. This world's coming to an end, guys. It's coming to an end. Right? But hey, listen, tomorrow night, Thursday, we got Ali Frazier fight night along with Kevin's gonna come on. It's a podcast fee. Dags will be on as well. Maybe somebody else, one or two, call in or watch the fight. But I encourage you guys. I'm gonna put I'll schedule the broadcast early tomorrow when I get home from work in the morning, and tune in. It's fun. You know, it's the highlights. we do the highlights of the fight. If you any of you old time boxing fans that missed the old boxing, the real fights, um, once a week we do it on It's a Podcastrophe. I grew up watching boxing. My buddy Kevin did. Dags did to a certain extent. A bunch of us grew up watching boxing, so we like to throw that in there once a week, And you know how It's a Podcastrophe rolls. Starts off with boxing. We wind up with whatever fucking recipe for Anazet cookies. That's just, that's just where it goes. It goes from A to Z. I was almost said A to B. A to Z it goes. So tune on in. Probably 7:30, probably 7. 'Cause I gotta go to work at 11. Leave by 9:30. Or now you know my schedule, peeps. But thanks for the eyes again. I appreciate the views. Check this one out as well. Check out It's a Podcastrophe. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and throw a comment, man. And if you don't want to comment, throw a freaking emoji up there. Who gives a shit? Right? So.